Hello, 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 Keller Williams Mountains of Sound, Keller Williams Puget Sound, and all our wonderful Thrive Forward community. It is so great to have you here today on this beautiful Monday. I am so excited about after today, I'm going to get outside and have a little bit of a walk because it's so gorgeous out. Hey, so we have a really fantastic team meeting planned for you today. It is jam-packed full of all sorts of yummy goodness for you. But I'm going to start off with my wonderful partner in crime, Ms. Pam Ranch. Pam, why don't you come on in and say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody. I hope you are ready to take charge of your week, and so glad that you joined us today. I wanted to share a little bit with you about this thing that keeps rolling through my mind, and maybe yours too, called change. And I did a lot of reading around change, and one of the things that came to my mind was a quote actually that Darren Campbell shared, and it was from a book called Who Moved My Cheese? And so we're actually going to play a little clip for you around Who Moved My Cheese, but first I want to read you the quote that he sent over. So I thank Darren for this, because this is a good one. It says that life is no straight and easy corridor along which we travel. Oops, sorry guys, along which we travel free and unhampered, but a maze of passages through which we must seek our own way, lost and confused. Now and again checked in a blind alley, but always, if we have faith, a door will open for us, not perhaps one that we ourselves would ever have thought of, but one that will ultimately prove good for us. So there's a huge opportunity ahead of us, and let's watch a little clip from Who Moved My Cheese.
Who Moved My Cheese is about dealing with change in your work and in your life. Cheese being a metaphor for what you want in life. Everyone has their own idea.
Sorry, guys. User error. I'm going to start over again. Let's try this again so everybody can actually see this time. There you go.
Who Moved My Cheese is about dealing with change in your work and in your life. Cheese being a metaphor for what you want in life. Everyone has their own idea what cheese means to them, and we go after it because it makes us happy. Cheese in the story represents where you look for your cheese, or happiness. Your cheese is always changing, and you should not get comfortable in relying on your cheese to always be how or where you left it. In doing so, will help you deal with change and bring you greater success, no matter how you define success for yourself. The 4 characters in the story represent parts of us, and it's up to you to identify which parts you are now and which you would rather be from now on. There's 2 mice who don't overthink everything and just get on with life. Sniff, who constantly sniffs out the change and is ready for it. Scurry goes into action immediately without needing to know all the information. Then there's 2 little people, really smart people who've done well for themselves so far. Hem, he likes to stay in a safe, familiar territory. And Haw, who's slow to adapt to change but is open-minded. Sniff and Scurry go out and seek new cheese every day. Hem and Haw comfortably rely on their past knowledge and experience and assure themselves the cheese will be right where they left it. Hem and Haw even moved their house closer to their cheese and built a social life around it. They became so comfortable they didn't even notice what was happening. Sniff and Scurry noticed the cheese was diminishing and that one day it wasn't there. But they were not surprised. They were prepared and knew what to do. The situation had changed, so they decided to change. They sniffed and scurried in search of new cheese. Hem and Haw had not been paying attention to the changes. They took it for granted and were unprepared. How could this have happened, they thought. Nobody warned them. They wanted to believe somebody moved their cheese and didn't want to believe that they had failed to notice it getting smaller and smaller every day. Ham's complicated brain and deep belief system demanded to know why this had been done to him. While Ham and Haw were busy worrying about what happened to them, Sniff and Scurry were already out finding new cheese in uncharted territory, and it didn't take long before they found new cheese and started enjoying life again. Ham and Haw remained bitter and angry about not having their old cheese, complaining how life was unfair to them. They got used to being comfortable and were now afraid to go find new cheese. They got stuck in a habit of doing the same things over and over again and wondering why things didn't get better. Eventually, Haw realized the cheese was never coming back and may have to face his fears and go find new cheese. He finally stopped blaming others and took responsibility for himself. After all, it is safer to search in the maze than remain in a cheeseless situation. As Haw enjoyed his newfound cheese, he reflected on past mistakes and realized nothing got better until he changed. He didn't like it at the time, but the change was a blessing in disguise. Ham was too stubborn, or proud, or just simply unwilling to change. Nobody knows what became of Ham. Move with the cheese.
So move with the cheese, Pam.
Yes, move with the cheese. So decide who you want to be, Sniff, Scurry, Ham, or Haw. Choice is yours. So you have lots of choices to go find some new cheese. So make that part of your week, new cheese.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you so much for that, Pam. Okay, so let's go into, I want to share my screen again with everybody. Give me just a moment. There we go. All right, so we have a lot of wonderful changes that are going to be happening for you guys. Hang on a second. I am having technical difficulties today, guys, so forgive me, and forgive me some more. Almost there with you. Hang on. Goodness, so sorry. Here we go. Now I got it. Okay, so we have a lot of wonderful changes coming up next week. Now, one thing we have really paid attention to is wanted to make sure that we streamlined everything that we are going to be offering you guys moving forward. You guys are very, very busy. We know that, and we want to make sure that the things that we are offering for you have the highest amount of impact. So for next week's training and engagement calendar, here's some exciting changes for you. First and foremost, we have something called Massive Action Monday. And Massive Action Monday is going to happen at 10 a.m. each Monday. We want every single one of you to attend. And here's how it's going to work. Every single Monday, we are going to have a topic that we are going to mastermind around. Now, what will happen is we're going to talk about that topic for just a moment. Then we're going to break everybody out into breakout rooms with people in like-kind production, and we're going to mastermind around that particular topic. And then right after that, you should be able to get into massive action for the week. That should be a really exciting time for all of us. And I think in that, we should be able to share lots of best practices with each other so we know exactly how we move forward for that week. Then we have, and this is so exciting, every single week we have Eavesdrop on the Top. Now, Pam, who do we have on Eavesdrop on the Top this week?
Well, this week for local agents, Tim McQuarrie from our own office, and we have Dawn Rushton, who's with Compass. We have Marty Reeder with John L. Scott, and Julie Johnson with Windermere. And they're all excited to have a conversation with each other and have you eavesdrop in. Don't want to miss it.
Do not want to miss that, guys. Make sure. And that's been an incredibly popular event that we're doing every single week. So this is my third week. The next one is going to be Business by the Numbers, and that'll be at 3 p.m. on Thursday. I am so excited. Next week, we have Rich Lucas is going to be teaching this wonderful class. I tell you what, Rich is brilliant at understanding numbers. As a matter of fact, he's going to be one of our panelists today, and so he's going to have a lot of great information for us today. And then finally, we will have once a month on Fridays, we'll have a special guest coming and doing a training event. So we have actually removed 2 different classes from the schedule. Instead of having a 3 o'clock and a 4 o'clock on Tuesday, we're just going to have our 4 o'clock of our eavesdrop on the top. And then Friday, it's only going to be once a month. So we're trying to streamline that for you guys as much as possible. All right. Next thing we must know about. Okay. How many of you, and tell you what, do something in the chat. How many of you have actually signed up for Bold Pivot? Who's got that, guys? Who's signing up for Bold Pivot right now? I know. Oh, Tracy, thank you so much. Awesome. Linda, yes. Victoria, fantastic. Love it. How many more? Natalie, you raise your hand. I like it. Billy, fantastic. Cindy, way to rock. Oh, we've got all sorts of you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am telling you what, this is going to be such a fantastic event. Here's why. It is nationwide. Oh my gosh. They have 4 of the absolute top Bold coaches are going to be teaching this. It's going to be starting on May 5th, and you guys are going to love it. The absolute best training for mindset and for skill set, especially around lead generation. So make sure you guys are a part of that. And instead of $799, remember, it is only $99. So I don't care if you're with Keller Williams, if you are with any other outside brokerage, this is going to be the class for you. So you want to make absolutely sure that you take part in that. I love it. Thank you so much, guys. Oh, you got the chats keep coming. You guys are amazing. All right. And by the way, I love what Dennis here says. Mindset will make the difference in this market. Oh my gosh, Dennis, you could not be, absolutely right on that. It is so fantastic. Okay, now I am going to ask my wonderful friend Guru. Guru, why don't you come on in and join us? Because I understand that you have some really exciting information for us, don't you?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Hang on a second. Let's see if we can see you. How are you doing today, Guru?
Good, good. Thank you. How are you?
I am so, so happy. Now, I got to tell you, you have some really exciting news.
Yes, I do.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so do me a favor. And you told me a little bit about something that you were doing. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so last week I was sitting down and thinking that, we are in uncertain times and it's hard to stay motivated, in times like this. So what can I do to make sure we all stay motivated? So I reached out to Kelly, who's Mo Anderson's assistant, and just sent a quick email stating that, hey, we would just like 5 minutes for Mo to come onto our Monday meeting and say a few words, because that will light the fire in everybody, right, in times like this. So I wasn't sure how this is going to go forward. Maybe they'll say, hey, we're too busy on it, we can't. But instead, she came back and said, I can have a full hour.
What? Full hour?
Yes,
Are you
a full hour with Mo Anderson later this month.
So you have arranged to have the Velvet Hammer join us?
Yes, and I can't believe it. I couldn't see straight last week because I'm like, is this really happening? And I had to email back Kelly, like, is this for real? She's like, yes, it is. So it is really happening. It's from 11 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time, April 28th on a Tuesday.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited about that. I can't believe that Mo Anderson. Now, so for those of you who don't know who Mo is, how do you not know who wonderful Mo is? But you know what, Pam, tell us a little bit about Mo, will you?
Oh gosh, so Mo is the vice chairman of the board for Keller Williams International. She was a team leader. She's been an operating principal. She owns regions. She has an interest in KWRI as well. And she's absolutely, without a doubt, the culture and the heart of KW. She's the reason why we have the God, family, business, our values. She's the reason we have WI4C2TS, Y4C2Ts. She has an ability to earn respect. I almost want to say demand respect from just about everybody that she meets. And she's got the biggest heart in the whole world, but she also won't settle for you settling. So she's always going to push a little bit, and she's been a great mentor of mine. And I love her book, A Joy-Filled Life. If you haven't read that, there is a book club you can find on Facebook, Joy-Filled Life. Just do some research on that and you'll find all of that. So I can't wait. Guru, thank you so much for making that happen.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then, you know, it's like saying that ask and you shall receive, right? And then you don't know until you ask. So I thought, hey, it's just an email. Let me just send it and see what happens. And it happened literally in like 6 hours from my first sending the email.
It's awesome.
That is so wonderful, Guru. Hey, thank you so much for doing that for us. This is just fantastic. All right, guys. So got to be there for that. It just doesn't get much better than that. And by the way, just to come for us, I think that, Guru, that just speaks such volumes for who you are as a cultural ambassador. Maybe people don't know that you are actually a Keller Williams International Cultural Ambassador, and that's a lifetime appointment. You got that last year. So again, you are just showing your culture by getting her coming to us. So we appreciate that so much, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
All right. Thanks for being with us, Drew. I sure appreciate it. All right. So let's move on just a little bit. We have something really cool to show you guys. This is a fantastic new thing that Keller Williams is doing for us, for you guys who are just starting to do your Facebook ads and campaigns. It's a brand new program. And here's what it does. It allows you to take 25% off of a $75 spend if this is the first time that you've gone into campaigns and you have set up a campaign. You'll notice this is a screenshot of your command campaigns page, and you're going to notice over here on the far right hand side it says create one now. That is where you're going to be able to claim your coupon. So how fun is that? You guys get to have $25 free on a $75 spend. So make sure that you are taking advantage of that. That comes from Gary and giving all of you guys a wonderful gift to be able to start off on campaigns. Yes, yes, yes. All right, let's move right along. Mr. John Hanson. I am not seeing John on here. Let's see if we see John. There's John. How are you, John? Good to see you, my friend.
I'm doing good, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So we have got some good things for you, and I'm just going to keep kind of clicking on through for our screen here. First thing, we've got legal considerations for realtors during the stay home and stay safe order. And you wanted to talk about these. I'll start off with our first bullet point here. It was 120-day notice to vacate may be necessary when changing the property use from rental property to owner-occupied property. Tell us a little bit about that, John.
Yeah, well, last Thursday morning, I was part of a video webinar with our legal hotline lawyer, Annie Fitzsimmons, and the leadership of the Washington Realtor Association. And they addressed, Annie specifically addressed some issues that I think are pretty impacting on us. And one of those was some recent legislation that in Washington State that says that if a property is changing use and the intent was probably for like from residential to commercial kind of thing, that you had to give that you now have to give 120-day notice to the tenant for that change of use. But lawyers quickly made that into rental property being changed over to owner-occupied property was included in that change. So this hasn't been tested by the courts yet, but we need to be aware of it, that that's a 120-day notice changing from a rental property to an owner-occupied property. So I just wanted to make you aware of that we'll probably, if your landlord owners are going to be, selling their property, they might want to be clearing out that property well in advance. So
Okay.
be aware of that.
Okay. Okay. Next one you say is using questionnaires on health for buyers or for sellers is pointless from a legal perspective.
Correct. That is because, I know there have been a lot of these things that you've seen around, and the Northwest MLS does not prepare those forms because it was determined that it's pointless. And I say pointless because it could only be pursued in civil court for damages. And so to prove that this person who saw the house caused the coronavirus, or this person's house, who is the owner of the house, gave this person who viewed the house the coronavirus, is virtually impossible to prove. And so it's really kind of pointless to have that questionnaire being used. The only thing I suppose that questionnaire could help with is, psychologically make the person think about it. I don't know. But Annie Fitzsimmons just says it's pointless. The Northwest MLS will not create one because it is pointless. So I wanted to make you all aware of that.
Okay, great. Next one is no sign installation is allowed.
Yeah, that's right. And so this question has come up a lot. It is one of those few functions that we have that is so necessary in our business that has not been approved by the governor's office to allow us to allow that to happen. So we have to continue to just pluck our signs into the yard with one of those hand and wire type things because we can't. Sign installation people are not allowed to go out and put up signs, nor take down signs.
Okay, okay. Next one is no repairs are allowed except when safety or structural integrity are concerned. Agents must never call to make the appointment.
Yeah, this was a big issue of legal exposure, at least on in the mind of Annie Fitzsimmons, our legal hotline lawyer. She said that we should not, as real estate brokers, be involved in any sort of dialogue intimating that this is a necessary thing, because we're not to make that determination. Only the seller is to make that determination along with the contractor as to whether this is something that is essential for safety or for the integrity of the structure, which is the exemption to the whole thing. So in other words, when we're doing when we're having repairs done through a Form 35R, as an example, then we've got to be aware that we can't be spearheading that because we are not allowed to direct people to violate the law.
Mm-hmm.
And so the seller themselves with their contractor have to make that decision on putting the getting that repair done, and they have to make the arrangements for that repair, and we can't be a part of that. And I just saw something flash across my screen, a question about the signs, taking down of the signs. So I've had that question come up a time or two, and my response has been, that's between the sign installation company and the owner, because the sign installation company owns that sign, that's their property. If they want to go recoup their property, that's their business, but we can't be a part of directing that action. So just like the inspections, we can't be a part of directing the action for sign installation or removal.
Okay, okay. Next one, new construction as a critical service exemption is being worked on. Cities are beginning to allow the inspection, their inspectors rather.
Right, they're inspectors. And so So there's some cities who have been breaking with the state's mandate because the cities have been making their inspectors available to go out for the construction inspections to do the various inspections along the way and to give the ultimate certificate of occupancy. And so giving that certificate of occupancy, the cities have been deeming essential and have been seen legally to be able to override the governor's order on that quarantine, to be able to make sure that in that process of construction, the inspectors themselves can go out to inspect the progress of that construction. So still, new construction is not part of the exemption or the exception to the governor's order, but is being worked on really hard by our Realtor Association to get that approved, because to leave a house partially done or whatever, or even to start construction when a particular seller might be planning to buy this new construction, but can't have it, and they could be found homeless. So our Realtor Association in Washington has been working really hard trying to get that new construction changed. It is expected to be the next exemption that we will see. If we see one come up real soon, that'll be the one. But it's not official yet. It's just something that cities are pushing back on the governor on this, and it's one that will probably happen soon.
Okay, great. And then finally, the 22 FM is no longer recommended except for new construction and vacant land.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So I was, to be honest, shocked when she said this, but it all totally made sense that Annie says that the purpose for this 22 FM really was only for a few days because of all the exemptions or exceptions to the order on no real estate business can be done. And so when all those exemptions took place, really the 22 FM lost its purpose, because the purpose of it was to do the extensions for things like inspections and stuff like that, but that's one of the exemptions. So it no longer had a purpose. Closing date, same thing. But keep in mind that because new construction is still part of that order, so new construction might be something that you'd want to use a 22 FM for. Also, vacant land might be something, because of the feasibility period, that you might want to use that 22 FM for. But Annie says really it's lost its purpose and don't use it. Her instructions in that Thursday morning seminar were, stop using it. Don't direct your brokers to use it anymore, because doesn't really have a purpose. And my thought was, well, if there's going to be a close, if you can foresee a potential closing delay, then I would say, yeah, you probably ought to use it. But I agree with Annie that really it's lost its purpose for use, and we really shouldn't be necessarily using it unless we can foresee a delay or a problem in something.
Okay, well, you know what, John, thank you so much for being with us as always, and keeping us abreast of everything that's happening in our current climate. It's extremely important, everybody, that you stay on top of all of the legal, this very fluid legal situation that we're in. And I hope everybody knows that Tuesday through Friday, every day at 10 a.m., John posts a compliance corner. And what it is meant to do is always keep you up to date on everything that is happening. Please make sure that you tune into our KWMTS office page, our KWPS intranet page, as well as the Thrive Forward page, and you can always keep up to date on everything there. John, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, my friend.
Thank you, Cole. Always my pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so let's move into meat and potatoes right now. And I want to start talking to you guys about time. And so I am actually going to, I'm going to share a poll with you guys. And I want to see what you have to say. So I've got this poll, and here's what the poll says. Poll says, how well are you sticking to your time block schedule? You're going to answer either I am time block ninja, nothing throws me off, I'm doing a pretty good job, I get derailed now and then, I'm okay finding I'm getting distracted easily, I'm in reaction mode, I can't seem to stay on track, or time block schedule. What is that? Oh, look at you go. Oh, we're racing. Okay, so no one's a ninja right now, but we're getting there. So I'm just going to give you just a few more seconds here, guys. Keep that poll going. And by the way, there were quite a few questions for John. We will cover that again in tomorrow's Compliance Corner, and we'll get those questions answered for you guys. I sure appreciate it. Okay, 8 more seconds for our poll. Be right there, so keep voting. Very, very good. All right, and polling ends. Let's share our results. Here's what we have, guys. We had 48% of you are pretty good, 35% of you are okay. No one is a ninja just yet. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you are doing the very, very best you can, but maybe we need just a little bit of work on our scheduling here. So I do want to talk about that just a little bit, and I'm going to share with you some information. I want to start off, we had a really fantastic conversation with one of our growth groups this morning, and it really is all about staying on track of your schedule. And what we discovered is that because we're in this new environment, we're getting a lot of reactionary activities that are people doing as opposed to being very on purpose with things. So what we posted on our Facebook pages is this agent's at home sample schedule. And what it is, it starts off, we'll just review it just a little bit. It starts off with 6 to 7, you're going to wake up and exercise. 7 to 7:30, it's your personal development, read shift, podcast, watching training videos. From 7:30 to 8:30, check emails, follow up, prepare for the day. 8:30 to 9, we've got your Zoom daily power up. Actually, we just moved that to 8 o'clock. You'll want to jump on that at 8. When we have your care calls to your database from 9 to noon. From noon to 1, go have some time with your family. From 1 to 3, that's when you're setting your appointments. By the way, you might also have some of those appointments in the evening, and hopefully most of those are on Zoom. 3 to 4, participate in the trainings that we have available, except for on Tuesday, that is going to be at 4 o'clock. And then from 4 to 5:30, check emails, all that fun stuff. So this is your sample schedule. And I'm getting a few chats here, so I'm going to check on our questions here. And it says, I love this daily schedule. Thank you, Shirley. It truly has helped me with the schedule each day. Thank you so much. So we have these posted on our Facebook pages. Feel free to check that out. And the one thing we checked when we were talking in our growth group today, Teresa Parker shared something with us, and I just loved it. So I wanted to include it today. And this is the 4 quadrants of your time management. Now, if you look at this, we have quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Over on the left-hand side, you'll notice things that are important and not important. Across the top, urgent and not urgent. So many of us live in the important and urgent side of it, which is crisis management, emergency meetings, last-minute deadlines, pressing problems, unforeseen events. Where we really want to live is in quadrant 2, and that's when you are most effective. That's in the not urgent but important phase, and that is proactive work, important goals, creative thinking, planning and prevention, relationship building, learning and renewal, and recreation. We're going to post this graphic up on our Facebook pages for you so you really can take a look at that and see how you are doing with your time blocking. The most important thing is to, first of all, have a plan. Have a plan every single day. Here's the thing to also understand about having that plan. When you wake up in the morning and you sit down at your desk and you're ready to start your day, that is not the time to review your plan for the day. That's way too late, because here's what'll happen, and I think you guys would probably agree with me. When you start, then all of a sudden something else happens, something gets distracted, you forget about something, and the day gets off. To really be a time blocked ninja, you start off with, on the last day of the week, you're making sure that you're prepping for the whole next week. And then every day of the week, the night before or the afternoon before, you're making sure you're prepped for the next day. So when you sit down for that day, when you open up your calendar, you already know what's coming. That way you're going to stay on track, stay focused, and keep moving your business forward. Here's the thing to understand. There are a lot of agents out there who are not doing anything and not staying active. Those agents who are staying active, those agents who have a plan, are the ones who are really going to be making it out as a total thriver when all of this is said and done. So guys, take control of your calendar. That's one of the systems that we start with in this. Now, though, we've got a lot more systems that we can talk about, and I want to bring on our incredible panel. So we have a fantastic panel who are just amazing at systems. We have Josh Clark, Jessica Ward, and Ron Jones. So Josh, Jessica, and Ron, if you guys could go ahead and come on in here, I'll let you unmute yourselves. That would be fantastic. And did I get Josh? Almost got you, Josh. There we go. So how are you guys doing today?
Hello. We're doing well.
Hi.
Doing well. How are you?
Awesome. Awesome. So you know what? All I've ever heard about is the three of you, and you are so incredible at systems. Now, Jessica, you told me that you're not very good at them, but everybody I talk to says, oh my gosh, you are brilliant at them too. So I made you be on this call still. Ron, I know that you're amazing, and Josh, you guys are too. So I thought we could start off with this. First of all, if you guys could just introduce yourselves, and we'll start ladies first with Jessica. Tell us how long you've been in the business, and just tell us a little bit about your role.
Okay, I licensed in April of 2013 and joined the Puget Sound office at that time. I've been there ever since. I have a small team now, just 3 of us. And so I'm in the lead listing agent and rainmaker role.
Okay, love that, love that. How about you, Ron?
Yes, I've been with Keller Williams since December of 2013, and with my Puget Sound Homes team. Absolutely love it here. I'm the director of operations on our team, and yeah, rock and rolling.
I love it. I love it. Okay, how about you, Josh?
So I got my license in December 2012, and our team, the results team, joined Keller Williams right when Keller Williams Mountain to Sound opened, actually. And I'm the director of operations for the team, which means that I oversee all the the systems and implementation and training and things like that.
I love it. Okay, so the topic of today's meeting is quit winging it, how your lack of systems, technology, and people might be killing your business. So here's my question for you. Have any of you guys, maybe even before Keller Williams, but even now, have you ever just winged it?
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
Yes. At some point, we all utilize creativity at some point when we're learning and developing, and and eventually you find that there are models and that there's processes to follow, and I think that came for us with Keller Williams. So.
Fantastic. So each of you are running really successful teams now. How did that start? And Josh, maybe I'll come to you. I know because before you came onto Keller, and you were at another company, I know that Carla Clark, who is the rainmaker on your team, she had been just going to some trainings and things that we had to offer, but then something happened with you. What happened that kind of turned things around for your team?
Yeah, okay, I'll tell the story like really briefly. I was originally in sales, right, when I got licensed. I did that for almost 3 years. I left the industry, or I thought I did. I got married, my wife and I moved to Portland. And Carla called me about 6 months later and said, hey, my longtime assistant has left. Can you join and just fill in some gaps right now? You know how this works, and I trust you. And that turned into hey, maybe we can take this group of individual agents we have and try to make a team out of it, like a real team. And so I spent months and months and months trying to, because I do think in systems. Like this is just, I'm a routine-based person. And so I was trying to figure it out. And all of a sudden, someone suggested, hey, there's this red book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent that you might want to read. And I read it and I was so mad. I was so mad because everything that we'd been struggling with, it was all in there. And that's when like you said, I went to Carla and said, I don't care what this means. We have to be at Keller Williams. There's no other place that we should be, because this company's built on these ideas. Like we need to be in a place where this is the culture, everyone's got this understanding. So
Fantastic. I would venture to guess that Jessica and Ron, similar stories to that?
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny that you Josh mentions the red book, because when I told you I don't think of myself as a systems person, it's because I started at Keller. I started using the red book like from the day one, the day I signed on. Pam handed me one and said, this is the manual, this is how you do it. And I said, okay. So we do everything that way: the budget model, the economic model, the lead generation model, red light, green light, the budget, like all of those things are done straight out of the red book. So I didn't think of them as systems. I just thought of it as what we do and how we do it.
Yes, yes. When you started with it, I can totally understand that. It's just kind of how you do things. And you and I were talking a little bit, Jess, and you were telling me, like, you've got a system that you've got so dialed in. What is, if you had to pick your one system that you go, man, I've got this down, what would it be?
Oh, I've got two answers to this, really, because when I first started, the answer is your 401(1)(1)(3)(5). Without that, I couldn't have done anything else. The latest system that we implemented that I'm super excited about was our loss of the pipeline, because it stops losing it stops the loss of a lead during conversion. So we have a process we can't break out of. We have to follow exactly. It gets audited 3 times a week, and there's literally no way to stop our follow-up system. And we implemented that in October and have had a substantially better conversion since then. That
is fantastic. Would you be willing to share that on our Facebook pages?
I'll put you a link right here in the chat for everybody. But yes, I've shared it before. I'm happy to share again.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. Thanks so much. How about you, Josh? If you had your one system, you go, man, I have this dialed in so much. What do you think of this?
Well, I'm going to go a little bit away from, I'll say for our team, we started using what is now a bold system, which is the letter pairs, the DTD2 letter pairs, about a year and a half ago. And it's been amazing. It's really helped wrangle a large Met database that we've been, that we were struggling with before. For me personally, mine has always been at the very end of MREA, nothing to do with real estate specifically, but it's the energy plan. My mornings are about as structured as they could possibly be, and I am able to get so much done before noon because of it. And that alone changed not only business, it did change my business, but changed my life too. So.
The energy plan, boy, that really does tie in with all the things that we're talking about, even in our time blocking things. I'm glad you shared that. Okay, Ron, Ron, you shared with me a couple things. I'm going to share my screen so people can see see what you shared with us.
So,
and,
yeah. So for us, what we did is when we came in, we implemented everything from the MREA. We looked at everything we were doing and we said, you know what, let's start over. Let's grab all of the original forms from the MREA Ops Manual. Let's grab all of the original KW documents from 2004 and let's retrofit them to today and make them work for us now. So we can have a proven model and apply creativity on top of a model, right? So that is where we started. And we started that with our 8x8 and our 33 touch, because you start with your sphere of influence in your database, to build a relationship. So that system was the first system we implemented to ensure that we were consistently communicating with the people in our database. From there, we started generating leads, because the big thing right now is tactic 4 and 5 and shift. Lead generation and lead conversion. That's where people need to be focused on right now. And staying in touch with our people is one thing, and we have to do that very well. But generating new activity is extremely important in this market, because we also have to find the people that are interested in doing business in today's market, whatever today's market is at any time of the year. So for us, we have a process of how we handle lead generation with new leads as they come in, and we're systematic about all of our leads, so that when people come in, so that when agents are coming on our team, or when agents are engaging with different leads, they have a flow of how they communicate with those people. And I would be happy to share these charts with people, but we bring in new leads, we bring them to, and then we always engage them immediately. Speed to lead is something that is huge in today's era, right? And we systemize that. If we're not engaged, if we can't engage within an hour, we utilize the tools that we have, such as auto text and auto email, to ensure that an engagement went out within that hour if it wasn't a live person. But our goal is always to talk to someone within an hour. We get those people to call, and we engage based on our qualified plans. And we've learned from Keller Williams to create drip plans. So we've built plans for every category of person, and we engage systematically with those people. Calls is where we put them over 2 or 3 weeks while we're trying to convert. And if we engage, great, we'll move them down the timeline as the chart shows. If we don't, they go to archive, and that's just the people who aren't really doing as much. We still communicate, it's just a lot more systematic there, a lot of dripping. The watches and the nurtures, we drip as well, but we tailor our communication, because we talk to those people in a form that's giving them relevant information, relevant content, and preparing them for the process to close. Shift talks about capture, cultivate, and close. And we have to be able to focus on those areas. This system allows us to be able to do that. If you can go to the next slide. On the next one, we kind of give this as just our agent process, so that agents can get just a clear picture without all the fluff of, hey, if you get a lead, call within 5 to 15 minutes. If they don't answer, do this. If they do answer, do this. And if they do answer and they're qualified, do this. So it's a very clear flow. Communication is a skill, and engagement is a skill. And it takes practice. Scripting is highly important. And I love, again, chapter 5 and shift. I can't talk about it enough. He talks about the 10 classic closes and how you use them in different ways. And that applies to this process. We have to be able to communicate effectively. We have to practice our scripts and practice the conversation for today's market, because it's a different conversation, but there are people still looking to do business. Today, I think for last week, we set 10 new appointments last week on our team, and that was following a process consistently.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Ron. And we'll post those on our Facebook pages so everybody can take a look at it. That's an incredible system. And okay, so for all three of you, I am working at home. I'm an agent. I'm working at home, and I'm really trying to dial things in. What's the first thing that I need to make sure I'm tackling right now from your perspective? Maybe this is other than the things you're already talked to us about, but if there's the first system that I need to dial in, what would it be?
Or one time blocks, in my opinion.
Time blocking, there you go. Time block your time block.
I agree with Jessica. I'm sorry. You have to put the time for time blocking. If you don't set the time aside, you're not going to do any of these activities consistently, and consistency is the key.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is awesome. So because the 411 is such a core piece, of all of this, because I think now more than ever, it's very easy for all of us to fill up a day, right? But are we doing that and actually moving big rocks forward that are tied to something way larger than today, this week, the how long we're in, stay home, stay healthy? Like, they need to be something bigger, and the 411 is how you do that. So I think that's spot on.
And I'd encourage people to build in some catch-up blocks. We've got kids home, pets home, interruptions happen. This isn't always necessarily the most, helpful work environment. So build in a little bit of extra time every day to catch up on stuff you missed, so you don't feel at the end of the day like you have your list left to go still.
And if you can find an accountability partner, if you don't have one, definitely find one, even if it's just to in the morning start and be sure, hey, let's script for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you guys can do that was more than what you were doing before. Finding that accountability partner. Us as a team, we get on Zoom every single morning as a team at 8:45, and all 12 screens, and we're having a conversation, just getting everyone's energy up to start the day. But even if that's one-on-one, I think that would be very powerful for people.
Fantastic, Ron. Guys, I appreciate you so much. You're always so generous with your time, and you're generous with the system that you're sharing. And I know everybody on our call right now really thanks you. So thank you so much for being here today, guys.
Thank you.
Have a
Thanks, Cole.
fantastic rest of your day. So I want to welcome in someone else that has just been such a wonderful resource for people, and just a really, really neat person. So I'm going to welcome in Rich Lucas. Rich, can you come on in for us and say hi?
Hi, Cole.
Hey,
Thanks so much.
Hey, thank you so much for being with us today. I've asked you today because everyone sees you as the absolute numbers guru when it comes to the market. So first of all, can you do me a favor, introduce yourself a little bit, tell us a little bit about your team, and then how long you've been in the business.
Oh, okay. I started selling real estate in 1985, 35 years ago. And I came to Keller Williams in 2007. Great decision that I made. Part of the reason I came to Keller Williams is because they understood teams, how to build teams. I loved the fact that Keller Williams had God in their God family business as important aspects of the business. So now we have a team. My wife, Diane, and I work together. 2 of our daughters work with us. And then we have 4 other agents and admin that work with.
That is wonderful. Okay, so market of the moment. There's been a lot of questions with a lot of our folks because we're just kind of in this strange conglomeration of a market, and I think you have a particular perspective on when we're talking about being the economist of choice with our clients. For you, how do you approach listings and pricing? How do you approach the question from clients, how's the market? How do we even start answering that question for our clients?
Well, there are a number of things that I want to know when I'm looking at the market, and when I want to be able to communicate to our clients. Numbers is the language of business. So I guess the first thing is information about the market generally. Everybody wants to know it. Whenever I go for a walk in our neighborhood, I meet one of our neighbors, the neighbor asks, what's going on in the market? Or if I head out with friends, they are asking us what's happening in the market. So I try to have an answer to that question ahead of time. I even practice it ahead of time. When I go for a walk, or go for a 4-mile walk, and I'll be practicing some of my dialogue, my elevator speech to myself as I'm walking along. It goes something like this. Well, houses are still selling. Houses are being listed. We're still making sales. Prices are up about 3.5%. Some people are on the sidelines waiting to see what happens in the market, but others are taking advantage of this slowdown in activity. Would I put my house on the market now? Yes. Usually that satisfies them. But it's something that has to come from you. It's your speech, and I find information about the economy, about the market by reading articles, by talking to other agents, by pulling up whatever kinds of stats are of interest to me on the MLS. I read Inman. I read the Daily Journal of Commerce. That's where I get some of my information. A second thing that I might share with them is the latest growth in their city. because everybody's interested in that. Average price being sold, number of homes on the market, number of homes that are selling. It's good to be generally aware of those things, but often I'll do some homework before meeting with people. If I'm going to meet with somebody, I might spend 5 minutes ahead of time just pulling together a few facts about their city, because I don't have it all together, but if I can just gather or glean a few facts, that makes me sound like I know what I'm talking about. So people especially like to know about the percentage of growth in their cities. So I keep my own charts tracking the growth of each of the cities that we work in. That's one of those things I can share at the upcoming class, how I put those charts together and the kind of information I pull together for those.
That's so great. Thank you so much for that. And I'm really, really excited, Rich, that you're going to be next week on Thursday. You're going to be basically teaching us business by the numbers is what we're going to call our class. And you're going to take us step by step through how you approach this. I hope everybody can join you on that. I think it'll be really fantastic. And I'm wondering if you might be willing to come back, if you have the time, each week on our team meeting and giving us just a little bit of snippet of what's happening in the market. Would you be willing to do that for us?
Oh, I'd like that. Thanks.
That would be fantastic. And thanks for being our expert on that, Rich. So I hope all of you guys can join us on next Thursday at 3 p.m., not this coming Thursday, but the following week. And Rich is going to take us all the way through business by the numbers. Hey, Rich, thanks so much for being with us. We really appreciate it today. Awesome. So I want to introduce you guys to this beautiful lady here. Laura Posey is one of the neatest people you'll ever want to meet, and I just love her dearly. And I hope she's okay if I say that. So she is our regional technology trainer, and she has quite a huge job, this beautiful lady, in kind of wrangling all of the market centers inside of our region and teaching us training. So I want to say hi to my wonderful friend, Laura Posey. Hey, Laura, how are you?
Hi, good. Thanks for having me on. This is fun.
Well, I'm so glad you are with us. So we're talking systems and we're talking tools and we're especially talking technology, which is your bailiwick. So you recently took my leadership team through an exercise that I was just like, wow, this is so incredible. This is absolutely the best way to approach our database. So I'm hoping that you could actually take us through that exercise just a little bit and
For sure.
help people kind of understand that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what's funny is that I got that reaction a lot about that exercise last week. And what's interesting to me is that I didn't expect that. Like, I was concerned that maybe that exercise was a little too straightforward, a little too basic, a little too simple. And it turns out that it's a good example of a powerful back to the basics activity that we should be practicing before we enter into a new database. So I'm actually going to help us. I'm going to take us through an activity. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to think about our database in a new way. So for some of you, you may have already heard this. This may be, a topic that you've listened to before. For some of us, this might be new. I think given the vast range of experience that we have on this call, what I would love is if you've already done this experience, if you could contribute to the call by writing in the chat, like, this is how we organize this. These are our categories. And then if you haven't done this activity or you find that you are thinking about your database in a new way, please also contribute by either asking questions in the chat or, contributing your ideas as well. I want this to be interactive, and I know we have a lot of hosts on the call, and they will help manage the chat for me. So I'm actually going to share my screen. And then Cole, can you see my lead generation model?
I sure can.
Yay. Okay. It's always like a surprise when you share your screen. It's almost like, doesn't matter how many times a day you do it, you're like,
I get you.
so here we go. This is a very familiar image. I know a lot of us work on this. By the way, I did not flip the Space Needle picture, so it looks like the Space Needle's backwards, but that's okay. This is a very familiar lead gen model image that we have, and the top of it on the left, you see we have lead generation. And then that's where our prospect and marketing comes. In a normal time, that's where we're going out, having open houses, going to community events, this, that, or the other. Now it's more Facebook ads, virtual or digital open houses, that sort of thing, to get those lead generation activities in. Either way, no matter how you get those leads, we put them at the top of our funnel, top of our bucket. And then we start to work the database, which is on the left. So we get leads and or contacts. So in the context of command, a lead is a one-way conversation, right? You are sending them offer-based touch programs. You're inviting them to connect, interact with you. You're sharing value. You're sharing things with them, but there's not a response. There's no like two-way conversation. It's a one-way conversation. Contacts are a two-way conversation. They are an interactive and value-based touch program. So you send them a neighborhood nurture, they open that neighborhood nurture, maybe they add another neighborhood to the neighborhood snap, maybe they ask you a question about the neighborhood, maybe they sign in to your agent site because you sent them something that they want to look in. That's a digital interaction, right? Now, I don't know, depending on how you run your business, maybe you want to have like an in-between stage where it's like lead that's interacting with me in the digital space, and then contact. So maybe you have an area within your opportunities pipeline that's like, I'm watching this because it's a little bit hotter because I see that they're interacting with my data. And then as you can see here, we go down to cultivate. Once we decide who this lead is, where they're at in this process, we're going to nurture, qualify them, and then put them through appointment, active, under contract, close. So my expectation is that we've all seen this, we understand this. We're going to spend time in the middle section here, the database section. So those of you that are familiar with command are looking at this going, oh, contacts, I get it, right? We got smart plans at the top, we got Facebook campaigns at the top, then we've got contacts in the middle, smart plans in the middle, and then we've got sales pipeline, AKA opportunities. So if you understand the MREA model and you understand command, you start to see that it is built to support the systems and models that Keller Williams is based upon. So we're actually going to take a step back today, and we are going to think about our database in its raw, true form. We're going to categorize.
Oop, did we lose you?
Oh, I'm here. Can you hear me?
There you are. Yeah, we just froze up for just a second.
Oh, it says my internet connection is unstable. That's always so fun. I'm going to go off the video so that I don't use the video and you guys will hear my voice. So I'm actually going to do this for a moment. You'll hear me, but you won't see me. Okay, can you hear me, Cole?
Yeah, sure can.
Perfect. Alrighty. So today we are going to organize and standardize our contact list. So oftentimes, and I'm sure there's people in this call that have experienced this, oftentimes we have been told, or we've told agents, or we've had conversations with people, it's like, yeah, go ahead and just, Cole, why don't you just go to your current CRM, click export, download that list onto a CSV, clean it up to match the template for command, tag those people how you want, and re-import it into command. Yeah, that sucks. That's really difficult. Like that is a mental gymnastics. It's a mental gymnastics that doesn't need to happen right away, right? Like it's like, that's like 15 steps that we're trying to lump into one. And we're really missing the opportunity in thinking about our businesses as our spreadsheet and our database. We're really missing the opportunity to revisit the roadmap and be like, okay, what do I have? What data is missing? Who are these people? And how do I want to take the information that I have and kind of squeeze the rest of the juice out of this lemon. So really, if you're in a situation that a lot of agents are in right now, which is, okay, I have a database. Someone has moved my cheese and I need to figure out how to make this work. I promise you there's more juice in your database left to squeeze. And my goal and hope for you is that after this activity, you start to view your database in a way where you can understand where to go get the rest of that juice or go get the rest of that cheese. So what you want to do is you want to export your database into a CSV. And what that means is that whether you're in Boomtown, whether you're in Constant Contact, whether you're using the list in MailChimp, I mean, there's a couple of other ones, there's actually a lot of other ones, but whatever you're using, there is an export feature and it's going to spit out your list into a CSV. What I want to do is expand my screen a little here so that I can, let's do this. Cool. So you often will find that when you export your list, I'm gonna make this a little bigger for you, you end up getting a spreadsheet that looks something like this. It's got a bunch of names, it's got some phone numbers, sometimes you have all the emails, you definitely usually don't have all the streets, and you kind of get this mishmash of like random pieces of information that the CRM has decided is important. Very important to agents. So depending on who you're exporting from, you might need to copy the notes into the details section because details export. So you don't want to be hoodwinked, if you will, into thinking that your CRM gave you all the information when you exported it. A lot of CRMs are going to give you a lot of data that you don't need in order to hide the fact that they didn't give you some of the data that you want. So don't get overwhelmed by all of the, what I like to call, sometimes it's just garbage, right? Like sometimes it's just like code stuff that they're just trying to give you. So make sure that you take a moment and review your spreadsheet and review the headers to make sure you got what you need. I would be surprised if you got everything you needed out of the CRM you're currently in. That's a great thing about Command, is that your information is yours, and when you export it, you can get literally everything out of the contact card. This is an export from Command. I get notes, I get emails, I get addresses, I get all this information. So once we are looking at our list, we really need to organize and standardize the list and understand who we communicate with. Because when you exported spreadsheet from other CRMs straight into Command, you don't necessarily get, I'm gonna be moving in and out of here a lot, so I'm just gonna zoom in a bit, make this easier for you to see. Okay. You don't necessarily get this like beautiful color tag, system tag, custom tag, everyone's equally uppercase, lowercase. This doesn't just happen if you kind of swap in and out from one CRM to the other. It takes a little bit of work, but you will understand what you're looking at so much more. You'll also understand what you're looking at when it comes to Command, because you'll recognize the names, you'll recognize the tags, you'll recognize the information. So I'm actually going to take you through an activity right now to help us set goals for our database, as well as plan the communication strategy for each. So I have a worksheet right here. Now, don't sweat it if you don't have this worksheet. You can use a piece of paper. You can open up an empty document on your computer, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, we will upload this into the Facebook pages for everyone, just so you know exactly where to find this, guys.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So we're actually going to do this as a group, and I'm going to utilize the chat as best as we can for some responses in a moment. But what I want you to think about is the top 3 contact groups in your database. So for most agents, it's like past clients and VIP and prospects, or, you know, my sphere of influence, my referrals, and my current people. So go ahead and identify the top 3 contact groups in your database and write them down. We're going to be doing further activities with these groups A, B, and C. You'll probably have more. I found that most agents have about 5 to 7 contact groups. That's great. You can continue this activity later. But right now we're going to identify the top 3 contact groups on this worksheet. I'll give you like a couple more seconds. And then once you
go ahead and type into the chat what's maybe some of those contact groups would be for you.
Thanks, Cole. I appreciate that.
Well,
what do we got? I can't see the chat when I'm, oh, here we go.
get referrals. Thanks, Tracy. Open houses, VIPs, past clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I love the open house one. That's one that I've been doing this training more so for leadership over the last few weeks. Open house ones has slipped through the cracks. I love that. Jessica's, oh, she's like the systems master. I know you guys already know that. Past clients, SOI, referral partners, perfect. So once you have your top contact groups, the activity is not to immediately go back and create standards for communication around those groups. The first thing you want to do is go back to your spreadsheet, and you want to identify those groups. So here, let's say this person, and this person are all my VIP. I'm going to color code them VIP. VIP in real estate to me means they make you money, so I'm going to make them green. Perhaps someone else just said referrals. So I am going to color code these people referrals. And then there's always some stragglers, and I'm going to keep these stragglers there for a moment. But once you establish your groups, you're also going to find that, you know, when you're talking about your VIPs, you're like, oh, well, that's because they have bought and sold a house with me, and they've also given me a referral that turned into business. Or, you know, my top referral group is people who give me 3 or more referrals a year, or whatever that example is. Those are called your standards. So if you go back to our worksheet, we actually need to set the standards for each person in our group. And what you'll find is that as you start to go through your CSV file, you're like, oh, you know what? This person is actually, they refer me a lot of business too. I was going to put them in like the social group circle, but I'm going to put them in this one instead. And you probably have a lot of overlapping the same groups, and it's going to help you kind of tighten this up a little bit. So go ahead, I'm going to give you about a minute. Go ahead and create the standards for each of your top 3 groups. So for your A, B, and C that you did, your top 3 contact groups, go ahead and list your standards. So like I said, for referral partners, it could be a certain number of referrals annually that turn into business, or a certain number of referrals annually at all. For your VIP, like I said, it could be someone who bought and sold a house with you, not just purchased. Go ahead and create some standards around your group, and then I'd love to know what those standards are.
Yeah, so feel free to put those in the chat if you have some of those. That'd be great.
Ron also mentioned when we were talking about contact groups that he has like website leads and Facebook. So it is a really good idea to think about like your leads as a contact group as well. So having that categorized is a healthy activity as well. Tracy said bought, sold, and referral. Someone else, Dennis said at least 1 referral in the last 12 months. A met for Jessica is someone who recognizes them and knows that they're in real estate if we ran into each other at the grocery store. Bam, that is a great standard. So Jessica said that she had like an airtight lead follow-up system in her business earlier, and you can tell because she's got a clear standard for a MET category person. So what you want to do is get really crystal clear on who is in this group, what puts them in this group, because then you're going to function on, all right, I've identified this information. Now, how do I want to communicate with this group? So it's not an overnight activity. I would say that if you were doing a true list cleanup, a true list recategorization, it might take you a week. You know, we talked about time blocking. It might take you an hour a day for 5 days just to like really get clear around what you have. So those of you that understand how command operates are looking at the standards and the group names and you're going, haha, custom tags. And that's absolutely right. But what you want to do is you want to establish who is going to get what custom tag. Because if I was like, all right, this person is in my book club, I'm going to make a book club tag. And then I came to you and I said, well, how many people are in your book club that you do business with? And you're like, 3. I'm like, all right, you got a database of like 4,000 people. I'm not sure 3 people get their own custom tag. And then if your walking group also got a custom tag, we probably just have like a social circle custom tag versus like individual tags for all those people. So what you want to do next after creating the standards for your group is create communication goals for each group. And those of you that are in command already are going, smart plans. And you're absolutely right. So now we know what group gets what sort of smart plan, whether it's a custom smart plan or an automatic one. So I'll give you about a minute. Go ahead and do your communication goals for each group and then throw them in the chat.
You know, Laura, I loved it when you took my group through this because I think it is such an organized way to start thinking about the database, right? I think you're right that so many people end up putting information just into a database and just start throwing it in there in context without having thought through it. So I love that you're taking us all through this.
Yeah, and it's an easy mistake, right? Like, you know, most of you know I'm also a business owner, and I've done the database dance. I've hopped and skipped and jumped from a couple of them just to see what works for me. And then you have an admin that's like usually in charge of it, right? You're like, all right, I just need to get this done by this date because I need to cancel the subscription, or I need to get this list done because I need to send out that holiday marketing or whatever it is. And we don't really have the opportunity to pause and re-clean, like kind of spring clean the list, if you will. Okay, Tracy said birthday cards, anniversary card, call, and text. Tracy, are those all, is that a communication plan for one group, or is it like each group gets one of those? Because that sounds like a really good like basics for like an 8x8 or even like a 33 touch or 36 touch. Each group, awesome. Okay, very cool. And that would be an interesting plan, a smart plan, right? A smart plan that is simply, you know, tag emails and texts all together, which actually isn't that simple. That's amazing. It's a pretty robust smart plan. But you can create that custom smart plan within command and then say, and call it the name of your group, right? So you could call it, you know, I'm just going to use VIP because it's an easy example, VIP smart plan, because you have created the smart plan around the goals. Ron's is Mets go either into nurture, watch, or archive based on timeline, and active people are typically in a 3 to 6 month drip plan, and watch have a 6 to 12 month plan. We tailor our communication and nurtures and watches based on their needs. Absolutely. Beautiful. And knowing who falls into nurture, watch, or archive based on those standards allows you to hop, skip, and jump smart plans as needed based on where they are in the pipeline. So once you've established the groups and the goals from this activity, I'd like to point out that we have spent 0 time in a database so far. We have not needed to go into the database part of command, which is contacts, and oh, I'm talking too fast. That happens. I get excited. I'm sorry, Patricia. I will slow my roll. And so what we've done is we've actually taken a step back and looked at our database from a critical lens. And as you can see, when I go back into my CSV, this is going to be the import. scroll over. We've got system tags, and then we've got our custom tags. So custom tags can be separated by a comma. So there's a comma in between, and they don't already have to be in command in order for you to bring them in. So technically you could import a list and create a new tag. And if I did it all caps, it would say all caps. And I could put this in as a custom tag for this contact, and then it would import them as an automatic tag, which is custom. And a custom tag looks like this. So training list and unlicensed recruits are custom tags that I've created. And then Patricia asks a really good question. What if we have already done our import? Do we need to go through one by one? I actually recommend that you export your list out of command and redo this activity and reestablish who your groups are and reestablish what sort of communication plan you want to put these people on. And then when you're comfortable, you can actually archive command and you can delete those contacts out of command and re-import your list because you still have it on your spreadsheet. Make a backup, send yourself an email, make sure you do everything you need to do to feel comfortable with that process. But you can go through your CSV and redo this activity, and so you don't have to do it one by one. I would also just like to call out that while we're having this meeting, there is a known issue where imports on lists for command are creating duplicates. So don't go run off and do this activity right after this meeting, because the duplicate sensor is under construction. So maybe hold off on this until I can give Cole an email and say, hey, we're good to go again. But I just really want to empower you to think about your database in a way that makes sense to you. And so that probably means going back to the drawing board and thinking about who your contact groups are. Additionally, with the communication goals, I do have a sample of a 36 to convert smart plan or communication plan. Ooh. So it's 4 telephone calls, 26 like bi-weekly email offerings, as well as 2 like touches, and then 4 like promotional direct mail type things. So you can actually take this template and make your own custom smart plan based on that too. Frankly, I think this framework works for anything, whether it's you know, a prospect or a referral or a recruit. I mean, you name it. These are basic things that you could really customize and implement into your business quite simply through smart plans.
Love it, love
There's
it.
someone that can help you export and import your database. Yeah, you guys can go to answers.kw.com and you just type in like there as well.
Can you repeat that one more time? You were breaking up just a little bit on that, Laura.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I'll put it in the chat. It's answers.kw.com.
Wonderful.
And if you type in export or import, you should get a whole lot of resources about how to export or import out of command.
Perfect.
I'm going to give you the screen back.
All right. Laura, thank you so very much for being with us today. I always appreciate you so much. So what we will do, guys, is we'll put this together as an exercise that we can do in an upcoming class, because I know that's a lot to digest in a very short amount of time. But I think it's a workshop that is really, really worth our efforts and our time. Also, what I wanted to show you guys, if you can bear with me for just a second, I want to show you something on our KW Connect. So let me log in and then I will share my screen with you on this. Okay, I'm going to go over to, so this is our Connect page. want to show you when I go over to our tech-enabled agent here. I go to this page and it says, I need training to run my business. I'm going to click on training. And that's going to take me up to several things. I want command my database, command my transactions, marketing, referral business, command my day, KW app. So when we're talking about getting training, let's say I start over here with I want to command my database. I can click on that, and this is where it gets really nifty. I'll go down here, it says recommend training. Click on that link. And all I have to do, it says getting started. So I simply start here. There's my videos, there's reads I have, and I take step by step by step, getting to know my, my command. Now, here's the neat thing, you're gonna notice this. For example, this has a video and it's 10 minutes, right? Less than 10 minutes. You could start taking each section here and maybe saying, okay, I'm going to take a half an hour every day to really work on my command. And the training is here to allow you guys to do that. So it becomes just a normal way of your day to be able to get inside command and learn from command. So I hope every one of you guys do get in there. Again, you're on KW Connect, go to technology, tech-enabled agent, get training is right here in the center. And then you can pick what you want training on again. So I said database on this particular one. I go to recommended training, and then it goes down from there. All right, add in your command training every single day, and I think that is going to help you a ton. All right, Pam. Wow, did we have a full day today? A lot of information. I know that we're going to be breaking this down into training for everybody. But are we moving cheese, and are we being prepared for moving cheese, do you think, Pam? Oops. Hang on, I'll unmute you. Try that again. You want to start your video there, Pam?
You know what? My computer screen isn't working for video. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, we can see you. Okay. And you look beautiful. It's kind of profile, but you're gorgeous.
Oh, that's because you're now, I'm not looking at my computer, I'm looking at my iPad. So there you go. My cheese just moved again. So I think, yes, I think we're prepared to move. And I just think you have to keep asking yourself questions. Where is your cheese going? Right now, my cheese just went to my iPad and not on my computer. But minute by minute, day by day, we will move through this. I think we have a great opportunity here to figure out how to pivot, to do the database, to get that in place. It's something we talk about all the time. And I'm taking full on advantage of the time that I have here working from home to do some of these things myself. So my cheese right now is in my database and in my phone calls.
Perfect. Perfect. Here's the thing, guys, quit winging it. Start off with something. Could it be your technology? Could it be your database? Could it be your time blocking? There's a lot of information we shared today. We are going to go ahead and post all of this wonderful stuff on our Facebook pages. A lot of links there. Of course, you can feel free to reach back to your executive leadership teams, and we will make sure that you guys have all of the information you need to quit winging it and start really working on your system. So keep an eye out for all the training that we've got coming up for you guys and the wonderful events that we have going on. By the way, next week we will be talking a lot about Red Day. So we'll be excited to have Jennifer and Jackie back with us then. Until then, Pam, it was so good to see you. And I want to say thank you to Laura and to Rich and to Josh and Ron and Jessica and John and all of you wonderful folks out there. We had well over 100 people joining us today, so we sure appreciate you guys. And we hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.